for whoever just connected, warm welcome. We're just about to start our Bocconi Meets Latin America event. And while asking you to drop all the questions that you might have into the Q&A box, and we'll do our best to answer during the presentation and after, I'd like to introduce our first speakers for today, and I'd like to leave them the floor. So I'll leave the floor to Dr. Chataglia. He's from the Cultural Office, Italian Embassy in Brasilia. So we'll leave the word for a welcome.
Thank you so much, and boa noite from Brasilia. I'm more than glad to be here with you tonight. It's a great opportunity with people connecting from all Latin America. As far as Brazil is concerned, we are at full disposal of all the students who would like to join Bocconi, as well as all the other varsities in Italy. And of course, all the network of the Italian authorities in Brazil is keen to support such an experience. The Italian Embassy in Brasilia, as well as the consulates in Recife, Belo Horizonte, Rio de Janeiro, Sao Paulo, Curitiba, Porto Alegre, the Italian Cultural Institutes in Sao Paulo and Rio de Janeiro, and so on, are ready to support students keen to join Bocconi programs in Italy. Of course, there are always some bureaucratic steps, and I would like to recall to all the students to always double check our websites in order to understand if they need a visa, if they need a declaration for the recognition of their titles, as well as to grab any useful opportunity for example, a scholarship in Italy. There are some opportunities that maybe could be interesting for them. The idea is to further strengthen the presence of the Italian varsities and Bocconi on top of them in Brazil. As you maybe will be, you'll recall, Brazil is really a very important country of origin for students, for both for Bocconi and for other Italian varsities. And we are more than happy to support and to contribute an increase of this number in the incoming future. So with any further delay, I wish to all the participants all the best, to enjoy the night, to enjoy the presentation. And as I mentioned, we are here to support you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your kind word. Thanks so much for being here connected with us tonight. And now I'd like to leave the floor to the Dr. Eduardo Bocconi Bornes, the Deputy Head of Mission, Italian Embassy in Chile.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for your kind invitation today on behalf of our Italian Embassy here in Santiago, and on behalf of our Ambassador Batocchi, who is currently out of the office. I'd like to thank you all. Thank you, Bocconi University, Bocconi alumni community, for your kind invitation to join this meeting. This event represents an important and remarkable opportunity of dialogue, of discovery, I would say, of our Italian university system, and in particular to get to know one of our top ranked and leading university, which is Bocconi in Milan. The choice of this title, no, Bocconi Meets Latin America, seems to be very topical and timely, because it's basically focused and oriented on a region, which is Latin America, that we are strongly joined to by deep and historical tie of friendship. As regards Chile, we have the presence of a strong Italian fellow national communities here, which is about consists of about 77,000 fellow compatriots here, and the ties with even the cultural ties with between Italy and Chile are very strong and deep in that sense. In general terms, as regard the region, no, as Latin America and the meeting with Bocconi, I'd say, I'd like just to mention and point out also the importance that we have and we dedicate to the region. As you presumably know, last year in October in Rome took place the conference Italy, Latin America and Caribbean, no? In cooperation with the Organizzazione Internazionale Italo-Latinoamericana, l'AILA, no? And this proved and witnesses the attention that Italy's foreign policy pays and dedicates to this region. The bonds between our countries are long-standing, but I'd say they are not limited to the past. They are also, these bonds and ties are projected and take a step into the future, also thanks to the internationalization process of the Italian university, because it's an investment in the future, it's an investment in education. So I'd say that our meeting today is part of this challenge, no? An important, bright opportunity for you as prospective students in terms of applying and getting into the admission of one of the most, say, prominent Italian university. And on the other hand, also an opportunity, mutual opportunity for Bocconi, no? In moving forward to the internationalization process and enhancing its connection to the world. So before saying goodbye to you and making the best wish for this event, I would like just to remark and to remember that we are at your disposal as regards the consular services provided by our embassy. In particular with the visa, the student visa, which is usually offered and applied during the period of August, July. It depends on the time of the application process for Italian university. We are at your disposal, and for every kind of questions and information requests, we are available also at our website and to the email address, which is consolato.santiago@esteri.it. So thank you again for your kind invitation and best wishes for your future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and thanks for your introduction. So thanks. I can see that more students joined, and actually we talked about admission procedure, we talked about Bocconi University. It's now time to dive deep and to have an overview of the Bocconi University, and it's my pleasure to leave the floor to Mario Tabarini, Head of Guidance and Recruitment, and together with Stefano Raimondi will tell us more about Bocconi University programs, application procedure, and a lot more. So leave you the floor, my pleasure, and we look forward to receiving all of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Federica. Let me just spend, before starting my presentation, a few words to thank the Italian embassies in Santiago, Chile, and in Brasilia, Dr. Berioni Berna and Dr. Chattaglia. It's so important for Bocconi, for an Italian university, generally speaking, to have the support of the institutions abroad who are, key factors in the facilitating the mobility of students to Italy. So it is a great pleasure. So thank you so much for your words. So as said, I'm Director of Guidance and Recruitment. So I will start, and I will start the presentation about Bocconi just here. Sorry, this is the slide. And I'll start my presentation with some numbers. Here we go. Yes, here we go. So Bocconi was founded in 1902, so pretty recent for Italian standards, that's what I would say, because we have some of the oldest universities in the world, Bologna, for example, in medieval age. But you may want to consider that that was in 1902 the first university granting a degree in economics in Italy, so the first business school, I would say. together with very top business schools in the US, like Harvard or Stanford, was created at the beginning of the last century. And that, let's say, leading position in terms of, for about 50 years, we were the only one offering a degree in economics, has maintained throughout the years through today. So Bocconi is really the leading institution in the fields of social sciences. Bocconi has also internationality in its DNA, and our first exchange program with the Stern School of Business and New York University will date back to 1974. To give you an example, the Erasmus program, which you may know in Latin America is the program of mobility throughout the European Union, was launched in 1987, so 13 years before we started to do exchanges. So very, very international since many years ago. Also international in terms of offer of courses taught in English. So in 2001, we started the first ever bachelor program, undergraduate program in English, fully taught in English in Italy, the Bachelor of International Economics and Management, which is still existing today. Just an overview of positioning Bocconi, how to position Bocconi, where is in the, let's say, international arena of universities in the fields of social sciences. So basically, you can take any ranking you want. We have here Financial Times and QS, but any other ranking, you will find Bocconi within the top 5 institutions in Europe and the top 20 in the world. When it comes to continental Europe, or if you want to say European Union, very often we are between number 1 and number 2 universities in any ranking you may think of. We, as said, we are focusing on social sciences. We are not, let's say, a multi-faculty university. We only focus on some disciplines. So we are mid-sized university, around 15,000 students, as said, very international, 100 plus nationalities on campus. And in the classes taught in English, so the majority of our degrees are taught in English, almost half of the population is non-Italian. Actually, in the last intake, so undergraduate intake this year, we reached the 50% of students non-Italian in class, which is our goal, to have like 50-50 with Italian and international. As a matter of fact, in 2021, we had 3,400 international students enrolled in Bocconi. To these students, you may want to add another 2,000 students, 1,700 students coming here on exchange within the collaborations that we have, or double degrees. So on campus, every day, you will find around over 5,000 students international. So very, very international environment. Also, our students take advantage of the opportunities to study and work abroad. And last year, 3,700 students spent the period of study or work abroad. International network is one of our assets, I would say. 280 plus universities and 35 double degrees. This is, we combine the quantity of opportunities, as said, over 2,000 study abroad opportunities every year in these over 280 partners, but also the quality. So in any continent you may think of, we have the partnership with the best business schools, the best department of political science, the best department of economics, the best law schools. To give you an example, in the US, for example, we are one of the very few universities who does active exchanges with the Ivy League universities, Princeton, Yale, Cornell, Columbia, Penn, and so on and so forth. For some schools, we have very big exchanges that no one else has, like the Woodrow Wilson School of Public Policy at Princeton. We exchange over 15 students every year, or the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, the #1 business school in the world. We exchange over 20 students every year, and this is Bocconi is the main destination for the exchanges. All these exchanges work on a bilateral basis. So we send students and receive students, and we exchange students. So it works only if there is an interest on both sides. So if we exchange 25 students with Wharton, it means that 25 students with Wharton are coming to Bocconi, and 25 Bocconi students are going to work. And this is valid everywhere in the world. Also in Latin America, you may think about the top, let's say, schools in the fields of social sciences that you find in Brazil, from the São Getúlio Vargas, or Peaggio, or in Chile, Adolfo Ibáñez, or in PUCI, or in Colombia, Los Andes, in Peru, ESAN, any country you may think of, we have partnership with with the top schools in Mexico, ITAM, or INCA in Costa Rica. I've seen people from Costa Rica as well. So another asset of Bocconi is the relations with the corporate community, with the employers. Bocconi was founded by the entrepreneur, Mr. Bocconi, who was involved in the textile industry, which is very, very relevant in this part of Italy, fashion capital. Milano has been named is named very often capital of fashion. So Mr. Bocconi has had in his, let's say, initial mandate to create big connections with the business community and to have this flavor of the business coming into class and the students having opportunities to work and to do internships very often during their path and their degree. So as a matter of fact, we have 4,000 active relations with employers, and we have offered in 2021 over 11,000 opportunities of placement and internship. We for sure take advantage of our incredible, let's say, community of alumni all over the world, 130,000 in any place. We have here a couple, Federica will join us maybe later, and but in any, let's say, country in the world you may think of, we have an alumni chapter there and very active, and this is very relevant because it creates a very good and very big community where you can find peers, you can find job opportunities, you can find advice, and so on and so forth. We also have our career fairs online and on campus called Bocconi Jobs and other events. These are some top employers, but you basically find all of them there. And this is the placement. The placement is very good. It's at the Master of Science level, because at the bachelor level, basically 95% of the students then go on and do a master. So 96.9% is actually the highest by the Financial Times, I think. Last year, 96.9, 1 year after graduation, are employed. And actually, almost 84% are employed on the graduation date. So basically, they have to take a day off from work in order to graduate. A third of them work and live abroad. So also gives you an idea of the internationality of our community. So our academic offer, our bachelor programs by law in Italy are 3 years. We have a variety of programs that touch all the social sciences and the disciplinary areas that we have. That is to say, management, economics, finance, political science, data science, mathematics for artificial intelligence, and law. All these programs are 3 years, with the exception of one, which is the World Bachelor in Business, which is our flagship program created in 2013. Unique case in the world, where you will get in one single program of 4 years, in this case, 3 degrees in 3 continents. So the first year is in Los Angeles, at the University of Southern California, and Marshall School of Business, usually rank among the top 10 undergraduate business programs in the US. The second year is in Hong Kong, the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology School of Business, very often ranked among the top 3 business schools in Asia. And then the third year in Bocconi. The fourth year, you decide where to go. So of course, this is a very selective program, but it's very unique. Then we have also some programs in Italian, but as you can see, the large majority of the offer is in English. All the courses are offered in English, and some of them are also offered in Italian. But there are the courses after, let's say, 2015, created after 2015, are only in English. This is because, Bocconi is truly international university, and we love the students to come to Bocconi without having the barrier of the language knowledge. Of course, we value very much our beautiful language, the Italian language, and while they're here, they have to take Italian language courses. And we strongly suggest to learn Italian while they're here, because it makes the experience much more, let's say, full and let's say connected to the reality of our country. It's much more important. It's much more relevant to speak a language if you want to interact with the people, if you want to live a full experience, a very let's say important experience rather than not learning the language. I have to say that from Latin America, the majority of students take advantage of that because of the closeness of the languages, Portuguese and Spanish to Italian. So that is a big plus. But the offer, of course, is in English. So the 3 years are structured this way. So the first year you learn the fundamentals. Then the second year you focus on the studies, could be economics, management, political science. And the third year you do the electives, and you can do these electives when you go abroad on exchange. I mentioned before the large number of exchange partnerships that we have, and you can also do an internship within the 3 years. We have reached now 66% of students taking an internship during the bachelor degree, which is a very high percentage, I would say, also because the 3 years is quite compact. Besides, let's say, focusing on the studies, so on the topic, what we say the hard skills, we also take into consideration very much the soft skills. So we have some critical thinking courses, soft skills courses, let's say, networking, leadership, and other courses which are more relevant to the soft skills. Also, it's important for us computer science. There is a coding, a Python mandatory course in the first year. Regarding the Master of Science, the Master of Science program are this one. Again, all the, let's say, disciplinary areas that we have, Bocconi, only focusing on these areas. So we're going from management to marketing to accounting, finance, arts management, economics, let's say political science, again, data science, and the 2 new kids in the block, which are 2 degrees that we, let's say, started together with the Politecnico di Milano, the top engineering school in Italy. One is cyber risk strategy and governance, and the other one is transformative sustainability. Just started a month ago, the first batch. The structure in Italy, by law, we have 2 years program. So the first year is core courses, and the second year is what they call an empty box. So you put there the elective courses that you can do on exchange, for example, or in Bocconi if you prefer, and in one of our partner schools all over the world. And then you have a mandatory internship that, again, you can do either in Italy or abroad. So at the end of the 2 years, basically, you have, I always do the comparison with a 1 year master. 1 year master, you can only study in 1 year, and then you go on the job market. Of course, you go 1 year in advance, let's say, to the job market, but this is very not really relevant for a person who will work then 40 years or more. What is relevant for the 2 years program is the fact that you enrich your curriculum a lot. As I mentioned before, imagine a student coming from Latin America to Italy, doing 1 year in Italy, and then the second year, let's say, do an exchange in the States or in France, and then do an internship in Germany or in India. So at the end of the 2 years, your curriculum is very much enriched. Also, you can do a double degree if you want. We have 35 double degrees. So the first year is in Bocconi, and the second year you can do, I don't know, HEC in Paris, LSE in London, or State University of New York, or Fundação Getúlio Vargas, for example. So many schools all over the world, in China, Sudan, in Australia. And in 2 years, you get 2 masters. So there are very strong advantages in a 2 year master, in my opinion, when it comes then to the placement and to the enrichment of your, let's say, profile. The teaching methods are very up to date. We actually, pandemic obliged everybody to, get the help and move forward to the digital, let's say, activities and to the digital education. Bocconi doesn't offer online degrees. We strongly believe in the physical, let's say, degrees and way of teaching, but at the same time, we use very much technologies to, let's say, leverage and enrich the courses. To give you an idea, 2 days after pandemic, in 2 days, we moved, when pandemic hit Italy back in early 2020, we moved 427 courses in 2 days from on campus to online. So we were already prepared to teach online, and we were ready even in that very, very difficult moment that we hope it will not come back and happen again. So very, very interactive also, let's say, way of teaching, which combines, in my opinion, the pretty, let's say, old but very, very strong way of teaching in Europe, with a big distance from the teacher to the audience, to the more, let's say, interactive that is present in the Anglo-Saxon world. Bocconi, it's always been at the edge of, let's say, innovative education, and also in this sense, it is very up to date, also on that. So I will stop here and leave the floor to my colleague Stefano for the admissions procedure. I've seen there are already questions about SAT, ACT, which is the score to enter Bocconi, or information about the foundation year. You will find all the answer in Stefano's presentation, but then of course, after Stefano and after the alumni speeches, we are available to answer all the remaining questions that you may have. Stefano.
Okay. Thank you, Mario. Good evening, everybody. Also from me, my name is Stefano. I work in the guidance and recruitment office, and I'm also a Bocconi alumnus. I studied there a few years ago, as you can imagine. By now, you should be thrilled to be part of our community, willing to join us. So let's have a look at how you can enter Bocconi. As Mario anticipated, we will be covering admission procedure, some financial aid, and housing. And then we will leave the floor to our younger alumni for them to share their experience. So talking about admission, for the bachelor program, the selection, it's really academic. It's based on quantitative elements. We want students to stick one test that you can choose among SAT, ACT, or our own test that can be taken online. And these account for 55% of the selection. Then we look at grades from second last and third last year, junior year and sophomore year, penultimate year and the year before. Call them as you like, but we look at these 2 years, not the senior year, not the final year. Students are required also to send a resume and the personal statement, but this is more important when it comes to scholarship or when we have students in very close competition. Otherwise, let me underline that most of the selection is on academics. The journey to the admission starts with the test that you can take, of course, before, being the SAT, the ACT, or our own test. After that, you register on our portal. In Italy, we don't have a common portal for the country like the US or UK. So you register on Bocconi portal, that is called My Application. And remember that you can apply to up to 4 programs in order of preference in the same application section. Once admitted, only once admitted, you will have to prove your knowledge of English, but this can be done in multiple ways. It can be your citizenship, the language of teaching of your diploma, various certificates, and Duolingo also. We accept most all of the diplomas as far as they respect some requirements. The most important thing for the area, for Latin America, is the requirement of 12 years. You need to get your diploma after 12 years of education. If you get your diploma after 11 years, for example, you will need to complement your study with the foundation year, or better, with a year of university with all the exam passed. For students receiving their diploma in December, they will be able to enroll in the following year because we have one intake starting in September. And if your educational system requires a qualifying exam for the university, the same exam with the passing grade will be required also to study in Italy. We trust your system and we decide to ask you the same exam. An example can be the ENEM or the vestibular for Brazil. Another important note is that we don't have requirements in terms of subjects. So if you have the possibility to customize your study plan, you can choose the subject you prefer. Selection-wise will be the same. Of course, if you have some STEM subject, will be useful for your relocation to the university study, because Bocconi has a quite quantitative approach to many topics. So at the beginning will be a little bit easier. Otherwise, no problem at all, because you can start with math courses at the beginning of your first year. We have 3 rounds of application. We have an early decision between July and September. For next cohort, it has already passed, and if we have any applicants in the audience, results will be out by the end of this month. Second big session, it's the winter session, November to January. Last smaller session, it's March to April. I don't want you to remember all the dates. Just remember that there are 3 sessions, the structure, and above all that it's important to apply early, because in the first session we give out most of the places and students can reapply if they're not admitted. So the competition gets higher the closer you get to the university start. There's no minimum threshold. So as I said, the selection is based on competition within a session. For the Master of Science program, the application is a little bit more holistic. Of course, academics are super important. We require students to have a GMAT or a GRE, and this is mandatory. And we will look at their GPA during the undergraduate program. But then it's important to show us how you are as a person more in a more rounded way. So we will ask a curriculum vitae, and we expect to see something more at this time of your career, and we require a personal statement that has to be addressed to the director of the program you choose. As you can see in the slide, you can choose up to 5 programs. So it's important that in the personal statement you give indication of your motivation for all the program, because the director of the program is the person that has the last word on your selection. Also, different from the bachelor, for the Master of Science, you can reapply only once, so not all the session like for the bachelor. Then you see that specific program may have specific requirements and deadlines, and if you are an exchange student, if you have been an exchange student, or if you will be an exchange student with us, Mario mentioned our fantastic exchange network, you will have a dedicated track of admission. Here you can see the different rounds. Again, the message is try to apply early. There are more places available. There are more scholarships available. So it's important that you apply early. Again, some of the programs may have specific deadlines. And then we go to the financial part, okay? First of all, the fees. The fees are the same, no matter which is your nationality, no matter which is your passport, no matter the country and the diploma or the university you're coming from. Also, the Italian paid the same. And it's 13,000 euros for the bachelor, so 39,000 euros for the full program, and 14,000 euros for the Master of Science, so 28,000 for the 2-year program. Then you can see that there are a lot of funding opportunity. 1 in 4 of our students receive some kind of financial aid. Bocconi is really committed on that. We want the best students, no matter which is their academic, their financial background, their economic background. And last year we invested 37 million in contribution for students. There are different types of scholarship. The awards, so merit scholarship, you don't have to apply. International candidates are automatically evaluated and can receive discounts for their tuition up to a full waiver. We also have an award dedicated to women because we care about gender balance. Then there are need-based scholarships. So in this case, you will need to submit some documents regarding your asset and financial situation, while the awards are given, the results are given together with the admission results, so you know that by the time you have to confirm. For the need-based scholarship, you need to wait a little bit more because it's partly public. We need to stick to the timings of the Ministry of Education. So you will probably know about your need-based scholarship at the beginning of the year. And then we also have financial support for all the experiences we value a lot. Some example can be study abroad program and internship that can enrich your curriculum. If you are a European citizen, you can access convenient loans by 2 of the biggest Italian banks, and we are also FAFSA approved. As far as housing is concerned, let me mention, we are downtown Milan in the city center. We are not a closed campus outside in the middle of nowhere. It's an open campus to the community, close to the city center. If you have visited, we are 15 minutes walking from the Duomo, the cathedral, and very close to the water canal areas. We have different dorms, all walking distance, around 2,000 places available. They have always single rooms, sometimes with private, sometimes with shared bathroom. There are services, as you can see. The rooms cannot accommodate all the demand, so we have a first come, first served criteria, first come, first served basis criteria. The application is for everybody, end of May, beginning of June. If you cannot, or if you don't want to enter in one of our dorms, no problem at all. As I said, we are in a very residential area. It's super common that students rent apartment and then share with other students. Let me say that housing has never been an issue for our students. And then a few words about campus life. I mean, this part will be better covered by our alumni that are younger, because the campus life I had was a little bit different back in the past, but you have a lot of student association to join for you to develop your passion, from the most academic one, like investment consulting, to anything you may think about, by human rights, wine tasting, fashion, diversity, inclusion. So there's really everything you may want to develop, or if you cannot find the ones you like, you can find your own. We have a media center managed by students with a web radio, web TV, and a newspaper. So they're actively part of our community. And we have many keynote speakers. You may recognize some of them in the last picture, the black and white. We have Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, but the one that I like the most is the second one, Robert Schultz, CEO of Starbucks, that came to Bocconi to celebrate that they were able to open a Starbucks in Milan, in Italy, and sell coffee to Italians. Also, as the Roman says, mens sana in corpore sano, we completed in 2020 and we opened in 2021 New Sports Center, because we wanted to have our students on campus with an incredible indoor Olympic pool, a gym with an indoor running track, and the arena for our sport team. So absolutely, sport is a thing at Bocconi, and you may find the team you like, some of them just for the sake of playing, some of them competing regional and city turn. I think I'm done with my part. So let's now leave the floor to our alumni. They have already been introduced. Thais from DASA, based in São Paulo, Daniele from McKinsey and Company, based in Rio, and I don't know if Federica was already able to join us from Bogota. So I will start with Thais. I leave the floor to you, so you can about
Thank you, Stefano.
the student experience.
Thank you, Stefano. Hi, everyone. My name is Thais Gazzoli, and I am from São Paulo, Brazil. I did the Bachelor of International Economics, Management, and Finance at Bocconi from 2012 to 2015. And then after that, I joined the master's degree in Marketing Management, also at Bocconi, for 2 more years. Both courses were taken in English, and I believe now that BF doesn't exist and it changed, and we have separate ones from what Mario showed, no? Yes, so I'm old, basically. So during high school, when I studied I did my high school in Brazil, in São Paulo, and I've always had the desire to live abroad, and I was really keen on languages. So when the time came for me to choose where do I want to study, and I really wanted to go to Europe, and I started looking for the top universities in economics and management in Europe, and Bocconi was rated one of the top universities, as you've seen. So one of the main reasons I actually chose Bocconi when it was time to choose, it was because I thought Italy as a country, it was more culturally similar to what we have in Latin America. However, I did not speak Italian at the time. So I did what was called the early application at Bocconi. I don't know if you still have it, but I did like Discover Your Talent Week. I went to Bocconi and I saw a bit of what were the classes, and I took the exam, sent all my curriculum, my cover letters, and then I was accepted before I even finished high school. So I didn't even try to do NM and all of the Brazilian entry exams for universities. For the Brazilian documents, what I can remember, what I recall is that I had to legally translate all the documents that I would send, especially from my school history, because as you've seen, we have to have 12 years of high school in order to enter. But Bocconi was always very supportive and responsive in terms of what documents were needed and answering emails. So I had no problems with that. I recall that. Since I didn't know anyone studying at Bocconi at the moment, when it was time to choose where to live, I applied to live at the campus, at the dorms. And I feel like this was actually one of the best choices that I've taken, since it allowed me to know a lot of people from a lot of different countries and also to improve my Italian. And also, one really good thing about the dorms is that in terms of exam preparation, I found it really useful to have a study common place where you can have study groups or you can share notes with other people. So regarding the curriculum of the bachelor's, for the first year and a half, and you had specific classes that you had to attend, and then after 1 year and a half, you would start choosing your elective subjects, which you like more, that you feel like are more connected to the path you want to take. In my case, I had the option to choose either to go the economic side, the finance side, or the management side. So I chose the latter. I chose the management side. I'm really happy with my choice. And during the bachelor degrees, you can choose to go on exchange program. However, since I was already living abroad for a few years and I was having a completely different cultural experience, I chose to stay at Bocconi and not do an exchange program during my bachelor's. In terms of internships, during the summer vacations, I used to work all the time. The first internship I took in Brazil was in my first year at the summer job at A.T. Kearney, which is a consulting firm. And then on my last year of the bachelor program, I joined Gucci in Milan, where I had a 6-month internship with them. It was a really interesting experience to see the difference of how work life is in Europe and how work life is in Brazil. So when I finished my bachelor's, I felt like I needed to still continue my study path and understand better what is it that I would like to work with. So I joined the master's program, the master's degree of marketing management. And throughout these 2 years, I did an exchange program in Chile because I really felt like I wanted to still have an university experience in Latin America. So it was an amazing exchange program that I did at the MBA program at Pontificia Universidad Católica de Chile in Santiago. And it was really one of the highlights of my whole university career. Also, during the master's, you can do exchange programs, but you have to do a compulsory internship. So in order to graduate, so that's where I started my career path, and I got my first real job after this internship, which was as a finance trainee in General Electric. They have a worldwide program of, it's called FMP, and you have the opportunity to go around the world also working in finance areas of the company. So I also had the opportunity to live in Budapest for 6 months. So now about me right now, I've already been 6 years in my career, and I've had experiences in finance and the commercial side to get to the area that I'm working today that I love, which is strategy and business development. I am really fortunate to have a managing role today with the team and being able to work at a company that has a very challenging purpose here in Brazil, that is to change the way the health system works. For those of you who are Brazilians, I work at DASA, which is the biggest network of integrated health in Latin America. And so finally, I know I've expanded myself a bit. So finally, if I could give you some tips on your future plans, Bocconi was definitely one of the best choices that I've taken in my life and also for my career. It is a very well-recognized university, and it's always seen as a great asset in my CV, even for local Brazilian companies. So just to close, please feel free to contact me on LinkedIn if you want. We can have a more personalized chat and I can tell you more about my experience. And that's it. Obrigada.
Thank you, Thais. It's super interesting to follow your journey around the world from Bocconi to your actual place. Now we can also see what Daniele has to tell you about his story.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks a lot, Stefano. Very nice to meet you all, and thank you, Thais. I think many things that you share with the people here, I fully agree and subscribe. We never met, but we were in Bocconi in the same period, more or less. I graduated in 2014. So nice to meet you here, Thais.
Nice to meet you.
I must say, I'm a bit jealous of all of you guys because you're going to be, hopefully, in Bocconi with the new campus, which I saw, I saw the birth of the new campus. I saw the first pictures, but the real project started when I graduated. And I was like, I want my children to be in Bocconi to enjoy this new campus. So you're really, really lucky. The previous one was already super cool, but the new one is next level. Let me tell you a little bit more about my history. So I'm Italian. I actually relatively new to the region here. I moved to Brazil last year for McKinsey. When I was in Bocconi, I studied, I did both my bachelor and master's in management and international management. I think I've enjoyed, everything that Bocconi could give me. So in the bachelor, I did an exchange program at the University of California in Berkeley, which was an incredible experience. During my master, I did the SENS, the global program for management universities that brought me to China for 6 months to study at Tsinghua University, and then to Poland for an internship in Google. And all of this, before arriving in Bocconi was not even in my dreams, right? And now it comes to why I chose Bocconi, right? They say that you are the average of the 10 people closest to you. And I tried as much as I could when I was in high school to talk to people from different universities and, thinking, would I want to be like them? Would I want to be, are they inspiring? Are they cool people? Do I match who they like, who they are, what they think, what they're gonna do? And Bocconi was always a place that I thought, this is the right place. People were super ambitious, which I was. People are super nice and welcoming, which of course I want to be surrounded by those kind of people. And the university itself opened a series of opportunities that for me was unique. I was born in the countryside of Italy. So really I saw, Bocconi as an accelerator for my career, for my skills, for my network, for everything. That's the official part. The unofficial part is that Bocconi is a super cool place to be in terms of, social events, clubs. I was in the Tra Leoni, which is the journal of the university, the newspaper of the university. One of the coolest experiences in my life as well. Writing articles, doing interviews with ministers. And the funny thing is that, the newspaper was recognized in the Italian community. So when we asked, a politician to do an interview with Tra i Leoni, which was the newspaper of Bocconi, they knew what it was. It was very, very, very fulfilling, right? After I graduated from Bocconi, I joined McKinsey straight away in the Milan office, where I did, the typical path as a business analyst, an associate. Then I did an MBA in Columbia University, New York. And then when I came back from the MBA in Italy, I started specializing in advanced mobility. So think like flying cars, electrical cars, hydrogen planes, electrical planes, all these things. And there was a huge demand for these topics in Brazil. And so I moved to the region, right? And there is, if you want to know more about what is happening in this space in the region, shoot me a note, shoot me a LinkedIn. It is really, really cool. I think in the next 10 years, the world, but Brazil, Chile, Peru, Ecuador, all Latin America is going to be a different place thanks to, we're going to see flying cars. Write down my words. In 10 years, we're going to see flying cars. And not because I'm a visionary, right? But because there are companies and clients asking me to build a business plan for them and helping them invest money on this topic. A couple of things, if I had to give a tip to you guys on how to think about your future, how to choose a university, I think participating in these events helps a lot. But the second thing is connect to people, talk to real people, to alumni, to friends of friends, to connections. I think you have this privilege of having 3 of us here connected, and you can contact us on LinkedIn. But don't be shy. If you want to talk to somebody of Politecnico di Milano, or Columbia University, or whatever, get their LinkedIn and shoot them a message. I think it's really important for you to not only look at the website of things that naturally tend to be always very nice, but talk to people and you're gonna understand a lot. That's why I chose Bocconi, because I was talking to people, I was stalking people, and that helped me a lot. Guys, I would love to get question from you. So I leave the floor to Stefano. I don't know if Federica joined already.
I think Federica hasn't joined yet, but it is absolutely great. So thank you so much for all of you for the presentation and for your sharing. And I believe it's now time to read some of the questions that we receive. I can see one from Rebecca, and also all of you guys, if you see any question that you'd like to answer, feel free to read them. So Rebecca is saying, I heard math is very difficult for South Americans. So what do you recommend to do in order, to keep up with the maths? And also maybe Thais and Daniela, you have some sort of suggestion.
Okay, I start from that, saying to Rebecca that she don't have to worry. Bocconi has a quantitative approach to topics, but the maths, you don't need to have a very high level math in advance. If you don't feel comfortable, if you feel you need to refresh something at the very beginning of your first year, during the welcome activities, there will be math pre-courses. So we are sure that everybody start with the necessary level. So don't worry absolutely about maths. It won't be an issue. We will give you all the tools to face your studies at Bocconi. Then I don't know if Thais or Daniela have something else to say about that.
Yeah, I think I can say, because coming from Brazil, that maths was something that was the hardest part to adapt, I feel like, in my first year. But I I honestly think that with the pre-courses, it helped me. Definitely when I compared with people that did IBs or APs, they definitely had a higher degree of maths, but this was easily in 2 months solved from my first year experience. So do not worry.
Thank you, thank you. There are a few questions about admission. I know it's always a critical topic for you, that because you want to apply the best way possible. I'll try to give you some general answer. I know there are some recurring questions or things that we have already covered. And then if you still have doubts, we will share our contacts later on and you can get in contact with us again. So one was about the 11 year of education, that it's a requirement. Bocconi does not offer a foundation year. You can try to do, you can do a foundation year in another school. The best things anyway is to do 1 year of university in a country where you can access university without the need of the 12 years. This will be enough for you then to apply to Bocconi and enroll to Bocconi, because you will have these additional year. Also, they asked to Thais her grades. I know she's answering. Please go ahead.
I'm answering.
Yeah, I see that. I just want to tell them not to rely too much on this kind of prediction. As I said, the selection is competitive. It really depends on when you apply, on which courses you choose. We always consider together the grades and the tests. So can be lower grades, higher test score, or the opposite. It's really difficult to make a prediction. Above all, Bocconi is going very well. We have been able to promote it in other areas of the world. So it's getting a little bit more competitive. Do your best. This is the only suggestion I can give you. But then I leave you Thais to answer about her grade if she wants to. And then
let me just say then that if someone has I think we can talk more. Someone can contact me and then we can talk more about my degree. I actually found my high school grades the other day, so it's in my head.
There's also a question about the admission with the IB. IB, it's a quite popular diploma. 1/3 of our applicants applied with the IB. It's the same as the other diploma. So we look at grade 11 and 10, IB1 and the year before, okay? The IB being taught in English automatically satisfy the requirements for the English knowledge. But apart from this, same thing. So second to last and third to last year, and then we will ask you to sit a test and we will evaluate them combined. Yeah, there's another question. Now, as I was saying before, we do not require specific subject. So you are selection-wise, you're free to choose the ones you prefer. Then if you have the chance to do some stems, will make life easier at the beginning. Otherwise, as we already told, there's pre-courses. So don't stress about too much about Math A-level or needing business or economics to study business or economics, because it's not the case. You will start from the beginning.
There was a question about the campus. So they were asking regarding the campus, if there is a sort of dormitory close to the university, so some sort of like living in Milan. I can see Daniela is nodding, so maybe you can give us some insights.
Yeah, I was reading those questions, Federica. I was living on a private apartment, but I was spending a lot of time in dorms, as I had many friends, Italians and non-Italians living in dorms. So I think the situation is the following: the campus is in the center of Milan. As Stefano said, it's not a closed campus, so it's really integrated with the city. I mean, there are roads in between the different parts of the campus, and bars and restaurants, open to the public. The dorms, there are different buildings. Some of them are actually on campus. Some of them are, 5 minutes walking. Some of them are like 10 minutes, with the bus. I think that, the one that is farthest away is more for exchange students or temporary students. At least this was a little bit the trend at the time, but, Stefano can correct me. And Thais, I think can speak more, how is the life on the dorms. But I think number one, it was not a segregation of foreign students in the dorms and Italians, in private apartments. It was a lot integrated, right?
Yeah, actually, my first year I was with one person only, and you cannot really choose if you get with one, if you stay on a dorm with 2 rooms, or if you stay on a dorm with 4 rooms. But my first year I stayed with an Italian girl, and then my second year I changed, and then I was with 3 other Italian girls. So that's why I said it really helped me also with my Italian, as I had my international friends in the dorms, but I also had Italian friends in the dorms, and it was really nice. There were some parties sometimes. I'm not sure how it is nowadays, but there were parties in the dorms on the weekends, and also the study part was really important because it was like a lot of people there, and you could just share notes and study together.
Thais, I will ask you to answer one question. It says Latin America has a unique type of people which only ourselves can understand. Compared to the rest of the world is completely different. Does Italy and Bocconi have a similar culture that permits feel comfortable to Latin American cultural attached people?
I think yes, nowadays, especially because also there are more and more people from Latin American coming. There were not a lot of Brazilians when I was there, but still, that's exactly why I chose Italy from my other option that was Switzerland. So it was just really because of the culture. And I think one thing that I wanted to say, you are going to go to university. So that's already a big change in your life in terms of how you study for high school and how you study for university, how you deal with friends in the high school and how you deal with friends at the university. So I think if I had to choose an European country to go and have the most similar experience, that would definitely be Italy. But just bear in mind that it's always an adaptation. There are going to be cultural challenges in the same way that Daniele probably, when he comes here, he comes to live in Brazil, he also feels that. So it's normal to any country that you have that.
Thank you. Yeah, Daniele, please go ahead, share your...
No, just one point. My experience is the opposite, but probably can help, right? As an Italian who moved to the region. And as I said, I lived in different continents, and the adaptation for me in Brazil and Latin America in general, I think it was the easiest one of all the other continents, right? As an Italian, I think Italians and Latin Americans, being Brazilians or Spanish Latin, they share a lot in common, and it was comparatively very, very easy to adapt. One issue that I have in Latin America is that people want to stay into parties too long. I'm really tired at 5 a.m. and all my friends, they go until 8 a.m. That is still a cultural shock for me.
That's why I'm still here. That's why I came back.
Thank you. There's still a few questions about admission. Natalia is asking if she graduating with the IB diploma after 11 years, and then could you go to the university for completing the requirements. Will be the diploma still considered? And the answer is yes. That university year, that additional year, it's only to satisfy the requirements of the 12 years of education. You will still be evaluated with the same elements of the application of all the other students. So second to last and third to last year, IB1 and the year before, and then one test. Okay, so don't worry about that. And then one last question from Camila that asked for some recommendation to what to include on the personal statement. You need to tell us a little bit more about yourself. You have the possibility to tell more about who you are and to express your connection, why you can be a good fit in Bocconi, in the courses you're choosing, how Bocconi can impact your future personal and professional life. So you need to show motivation. Above all, as I was saying, for the Master of Science, you need to address the personal statement, the motivational letter, and to the director, and try to show him why he would be a good fit for his or her class. In terms of recommendation letter, we do not require. Okay, so
let's see, we're receiving some more questions regarding like the test work. So for example, maybe what's the best way to prepare for the test work? We can ask maybe Thais and Daniela if they can give some sort of advice. I guess the test is always the part where students tend to stress a little bit, and is totally normal.
I did my test in 2009. I don't know if it's still the same, but I guess the logic might be. I think, you know, the GMAT is a test that helps, you know, prepare for the Bocconi one. Is not the same thing. It's I would say a bit simplified, but the GMAT, which is a test that, for example, I had to do for the MBA, has many elements that, you know, you can train a lot for this type of tests. And I think that's basically it. You know, GMAT, SAT, all these standardized tests, they help you to prepare for the Bocconi one. So they
if I may add, Daniele, that this is very true actually. You know, it depends on we have here students interested in the bachelor and students interested in the master. So for the ones interested in the bachelor, our test has changed throughout the years, yes, especially this year, and is being made more similar to the SAT. So Bocconi by policy don't give, you know, preparation books or material, only one, let's say, sample on the website, all the information on the test, but no preparation books. But you can, let's say, prepare on the SAT, I would say, because it's very similar. When it comes to the master, we don't have a Bocconi test for international students, so you are obliged to take either the GMAT or the GRE. Okay, so this is, yeah.
I think we can wrap up now. For sure, there will be much more question. In a second, I will share our contact and next event. So we're not disappearing. Don't worry. We will be in touch. By the way, in a few weeks, there will be 2 open days, one dedicated to high school students and one dedicated to university students. It will be on campus, and if you're able to join us in some of your country, there could be holidays. We are super happy about that. If you cannot, there will be also virtual, there will be also online. So you will be able to hear the program from the voice of the director that designed and shaped them, and also to chat with current students and with all the services of Bocconi. So it's a unique opportunity to clarify all of your doubts. Then you can come to see and visit us and see the campus, Daniele too, of course. Every Friday, we are hosting campus visits. It's a structured program where you can have a brief presentation, meet some current students, and then see the various buildings of the campus, from the sports center to the dorms, the classes, etc. Then another great opportunity to try the university firsthand before choosing it actually is the summer school. In end of June, July, depending on the program, you will be able to spend weeks if you are a university student, 2 weeks if you are a high school student. If you are a university student, you can also get credits for it. So a great opportunity to be in Milan to try the teaching of our professor. We do company visit. We do, of course, also social events. It's summer, so it will be a great opportunity. Last year, we went back on campus after 2 years of online, and we had more than 1,000 students coming to Milan, leaving the campus during the summer. So it was really a great opportunity. As I was saying, we'll be in contact, we'll be in touch. Any further doubts you may have, technical question about the admission, you can find our email addresses here. We are also in close contact with our admission office, so every doubt will be clarified before you apply. And last but not least, we launched an Instagram page for prospective students to give you the feeling of what does it mean to be a Bocconi student, to see what's going on, to give you a suggestion, to join us. So at meet_Bocconi on Instagram will provide a lot of very interesting content about our university. Let me thank you, well, the diplomatic, the embassies that joined us at the beginning for the welcome introduction, our alumni, of course, that gave a networking tell a networking journey of their life, and also my colleague Chiara and Mario that presented tonight, and also, of course, Federica that moderate this session. It has been a pleasure to have you all here. It has been an intense hour. We'll be in touch, and above all, we hope to see you in Milan or in another part of the world.
Thank you so much all. Thank you all for staying connected, for all of your valuable questions, and thank you for all the speakers for your valuable insights. We'll definitely follow up via email over the next few days, so you'll be able to reach out. As you can see, the team is very much approachable, so ask questions. So, don't be afraid of sending an email and ask any sort of doubt or question that you might have. So thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you in Milan at Bocconi University, or maybe in one of the next online events. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your evening then. Thank you.
Grazie, grazie.
Ciao,
Ci vediamo a
grazie
Milano.
mille.
Thank you, bye.
Ciao, ciao a tutti.